supposed to announce we're going to run the triple option next year.
And what do you think of that, Bill? New head coach, have you had a chance to talk to Les?
Only briefly. I met he and his family yesterday. I'm excited. I think everybody that supports us should be excited. And, you know, it's kind of a very happy thing, but it's also, you know, bitter for a guy and a staff that, you know, you come to know well over the last 4 years. But you know, hard decisions, you know, have to be made in this profession, and certainly I think it's not a good choice. It's a home run hire.
You've been around for a lot of these football hires since you first got to KU. What feels different about this? What do you think maybe?
Well, you know, I don't know if what feels different. I think one thing that we have probably, maybe with Charlie, maybe there was a little bit of a credibility hire from a name standpoint. You know, but it's hard. I've been a first-time head coach, you know, or coming from Oral Roberts to Tulsa, or like Turner came from Buffalo to here, if I'm not mistaken, and David, it was his first opportunity, and you know, even though Charlie had been in the business a long time, he hadn't been a head coach, you know, very long, and that stuff, even though it was at a high level, but you know, Les's credentials are off the chart. I mean, this guy is competing with Alabama each and every year for the right to, you know, play for an SEC championship and have a right to go to, you know, be part of the BCS and I not the, it's not the BCS. What is it? The CFL, or what? College football play, CFP. So excuse me. So to be a part of that, I think that is terrific. And you know, he's brought home the gold before, and I mean, there's not too many guys out there, recruits, that get a chance to play for a national championship coach, and you know, that are presently coaching. And I don't know how many there are in football, but there can't be more than 10 or 12, I wouldn't think, at the most. Maybe not that many. So I think it's a great hire, and I think it'll certainly energize our university and our fan base.
Coach, I'm guessing the rest of the year that Legero is an average 32 or 33 game, but what does he need to do to provide you guys with like a consistent?
Yeah, really going out on the
to provide you guys with a consistent presence on the court.
Well, I think what he's doing now is if you even look at him from the first game to the last two, his energy level's different. Now, granted, you know, it's a scientific fact, when you make a shot, it definitely pumps energy into you. I mean, that's been studied everywhere. It's been proven. But the reality is, he's playing with more energy defensively. He's got more juice. He's talking more. I mean, he's showing more emotion. He's having fun. And granted, it's always more fun when things are going really well. But still, though, I mean, that's contagious too. So I'm hoping that he can raise the other guy's level. You know, nobody expects him to go 15 out of 20 every, you know, from three, you know, with every 20 shots he takes. But he's certainly improved a ton on his ability to knock down shots and play. And you know, I don't know that he could have gotten off to any better start for us. And in the last two games we played, you know, even though mid-major teams, we played high-level mid-major teams that without him certainly would have taken us right to the limit. So yeah, he's just got to keep worrying about intangibles, and if you worry about the right things, and you know, your play will obviously go up.
What do you like that you've seen so far from your team that will translate well in this NIT?
Nitra, I don't, you know, there's not a lot of things that I love right now. I think defensively we are not very good. You know, we're last in the Big 12 in most every defensive category. I mean, whether it be field goal percentage or three-point field goal percentage defense. Now, rebound margin we're not, and some other things that are important. But when you look at those two things, I think opponents are shooting like 39 from three against us, and 43 or 42-6 or whatever from overall, which are numbers that we've never put up here. So I think that I can help them more, because I think we're in a little bit of a confused state on how we want to guard defensively. In theory, this looks really good, but the reality, does the personnel fit that theory? And maybe it doesn't fit quite as good as what we thought going into the season. So we're going to have to make some adjustments on that. But also the commitment's got to come from players as well. And I think we can. I think how we guard ball screens has got to be improved and changed. Even though in theory this is what I'd like to do, but the reality of it is it's hard to kind of do some of the things that I thought would be much easier. So we'll adjust on that. And then offensively, we're not going to be a great offensive team until Quentin and Diedrich get aggressive and you know, they don't have to play at a highest level all the time, but hey, we got a legitimate knockdown shooter, we got a legitimate big guy you can throw it to, but those two guys are the keys as far as being able to stretch the defense and make plays for others. And so I'm really looking forward to them, you know, just continuing to get more aggressive.
What can you do to help the three-point defense, and how much of that is just bad luck or small sample size to this point?
Well, you know, whenever you've only played 3 games, so it's all small sample size. And I've said this all along, forget about non-conference stats. There's, you know, when you look at leagues, in your league, what your non-conference stats are is totally irrelevant because not everybody plays the same people. So the relevance obviously will start taking place 3 or 4 games into your conference season. Then you can start to tell that there's a sample size on who you are. And we've always been better in conference within the conference ratings than what we are outside of it because we've always played such a tough non-conference schedule. But you know, I think that attention to detail. I also think energy. You know, that activity, maybe better than energy, but activity, more active hands, more deflections, more things that are created by, you know, just guys playing with activity. I think would really help us a lot.
You talked about those 2 freshmen being more aggressive. How much is it of
Well,
that?
I was talking about Diedrich and Quentin, but yeah, Devon too, but those 2 primarily.
Well, how much can you teach aggressiveness, and how much is it just like an innate thing that a player has?
I think it can. I think it can be improved. You know, they say, can a guy become a leader after he, you know, if he hadn't been kind of that leader the whole time? I think you can be taught to do some things. I really believe that that's a coach's job to try to instill things to get them better at that. Now, Josh Jackson, no issue. You know, things like that.
Right.
But if you go back and look at it, I don't think Devontae had the same aggressiveness as a young kid as what he had at the end of his career, or Spee for that matter. Even Malik to start a season by the end of the season. So I know it can all be improved. But those 2 for this year's team, you know, it's pretty evident to all of us. We need those guys looking to make plays. And when I say make plays, I'm not talking about shooting the ball. I'm talking about to make plays for themselves or others, or take what the defense gives them and not be so content on just being out there. They got to impact the possessions on both ends. And we know they can because we've seen it, but it's been small sample sizes. And certainly the large, you know, we're going to know a lot more about our team after this week. You know, Michigan State was too early to play, even though we did pretty well. The last 2 games, probably not a true indication, even though the way we won is exactly what we needed to have to grind a little bit. And then, but playing Marquette and then either Louisville or Tennessee in a 3-day window, that'll tell us a lot more about who we are than what we know right now.
Does Wojo coach like he played?
I mean, does he run up and down the sideline and slap the floor, you know, in a stance? I would say he probably does not. But, you know, I know Steve, but I don't know him well. And you know, we've all seen him play back when he was at Duke. He was certainly a guy that got the most out of what he had and was a great leader for them. But as far as his mindset and philosophy, I mean, they're much improved defensively. but they are ultra aggressive and shoot that ball offensively. So I'd say there's some similarities with that and how Duke played.
Can you talk about players, Marquette's players? You got Fair brothers and Marcus Howard.
Well, Marcus Howard is probably as good a scorer as there is in the country. I mean, he puts up numbers, and I don't know exactly what he's averaging right now, but what is he averaging?
20.
He's averaging 20, but he's going to average more than 20 for the year. You know, a lot of that's because maybe limited minutes. He's a prolific scorer, and the Hauser brothers are you know, both tall combo forwards that can pick and pop or catch and drive it and can stretch it and just really good players. They've got a team full of really good players, and they got a guy that's capable of getting 40, I mean 35 or 40 any night, and so you know, he makes guarded shots, and you know, a lot of times all you can do is defend him and get a hand up and that kind of stuff. But he makes a lot of bad shots, to be honest with you. He's that talented. So they got good personnel. They can always put four around a guy that can all really shoot it, or they could play really small and put five guys out there that can stretch it. So you know, they've got a good team. There's a reason why they're preseason, you know, top 25 for sure.
Which one of your guys most takes on your personality?
Well, I don't know. If there's that many sweet and innocent guys out there, I would say Marcus Garrett, maybe. I'd say maybe Marcus, but I don't know. Saying one thing about Marcus, I asked our guys yesterday. We watched the tape. I asked our guys when we were watching the tape. I said, "You guys," and I told them all the background on, you know, Les and all that stuff. And Marcus follows sports more than anybody else on our team. He's got a better feel for it than anybody. And I said, "What do you think, Garrett?" And he goes, "Love it. We all should love it." So that right there is about as good as endorsement a guy can get when Marcus says that. But I'd say Marcus probably more so than anybody.
Go ahead.
Can you give us a little soundbite on the other side, since we may not see you, Louisville, Tennessee?
Well, let's see. I can tell you this. You know, obviously Chris is new, and you know, they just played Vermont and beat Vermont, and Norm saw the Vermont staff recruiting this past weekend, and they were so impressed at how hard they played and everything. I haven't studied them yet, and I've watched Tennessee a little bit just because they played Louisiana right before we played them. But you know, either one of those teams are capable, and Tennessee is a team that legitimately has a shot to win the national championship. I mean, we're going to be playing a top 3 to 5 team in the country. You know, if we get an opportunity to play Tennessee, and if we don't, then we're going to play a team that will probably play as hard as anybody that we play all year long. Louisville's always going to have guys.
For Dietrich to see the ball go through the hoop, most recent game, how much carryover do you hope that has for him this week?
You know what? The shots he made the other day, he saw a couple go down that were, you know, face up 12-footers or whatever. But for the most part, they were bunnies that he made, and he missed some bunnies that he had. So I don't think that even he would say that he saw the ball really go through the hole. You know, it's hard to get a lot of confidence by making a shot when you're sitting down, and you know, he obviously did that. But I'm not worried about Dietrich in scoring or anything like that. I just want him to be more aggressive and play probably a little bit more to his athletic ability, because I don't think that he's really played to the point where he put himself in great positions to score, because I don't know why, because he hadn't used his body to shield defenders and things like that, and I think that's all a form of aggressiveness.
3 of these 4 teams have won national titles. How would you describe this field for a holiday tournament?
Well, it's a great field. And Maui should be talked about. You got Duke, Gonzaga, and Auburn, and other teams playing in that are really good. And Atlantis, I'm sure, has a great field. But you look at this field. I mean, I would think that you also have 3 of the 4 teams that were, well, 2 teams that were ranked in the preseason top 5 or 6, and another in the top 25, and a coach that's generating a ton of excitement at his respective school. I would think that this would be one of the best fields that any of the early season tournaments have in it. And 3 of the teams winning national championships speaks to history more so than it does obviously the present. But the present is still very good.
I was wondering if you'd never met Al McGuire.
I have met Al McGuire. Yeah, I have met him. He did our game when I was at Oklahoma State, and I was an assistant. And we had Big Country, and we're in the media room. He's staring at me, and I'm like, well, why is he staring at me? And he walked up to me and just looked me dead square in the eye, and he just put his hands on my shoulders like this. And I'm like, well, this is Al McGuire. Wow. Put his hands on his shoulders and just stared at me for like 10 seconds. And the cameraman behind me that I couldn't see said, "Got it," and he just turned around and walked off. So it didn't even speak to me. But no, he was a legend, obviously, and quite a character.